Good morning. It is so good to be back in home studio today. Oh man, we've been gone, feels like for 3 months, but it's been better part of a month. Almost the entire month of May. We've been all over the place just getting back. This round, where'd we go? Well, I think, we've been in Kentucky, after that. So we flew out to Las Vegas and then to California, and then just got back late last night from Salt Lake City. So welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm glad to see you here. You all know what I'm talking about when I say, you get home from a long trip, and it's that last like fly in and out of Charleston, unless you're flying private. You have to go through Atlanta pretty much to go anywhere. And so on the way back after a long trip, it's that last like 30 minutes where you're like, I just want, you get off the plane, you love where you live. When you step off the plane in South Carolina, there's a distinct feel to the air. There's a smell. There's just a love of home. I never knew that the South was going to be my home, but absolutely loving it, and love being home, love stepping off the plane, and happy to be back at the home base. Good morning, everybody. I want to say good morning to everybody that's joining us live on all of the things. We're on Facebooks, and we're on LinkedIn's, and we're on X, and we're on all of the different channels. And I'm happy for all of you that are here, that are hearing about the show, that are joining us. There's been a lot of new folks coming in, so welcome. I just want to say hi. I see Christopher. Good morning. Jethro. Good morning. Patrick Dickerson in the house. Good to see everybody. I am Jason Cisneros, and this is the Built to Exit podcast that we do live here every single Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did it last week. I was in San Diego, which I realize anybody that's coming in from the West Coast and the Mountain Standard, thank you so much for getting up so early, because I had to do the show at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that is early to get rolling, even though I'm up 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. So anyway, good morning to everybody. I hope everything is going well. Good to see you, Ruben. Again, as I said, I am Jason Cisneros, and I am the chairman and the founder of Anton J Global. We have a division called Built to Exit, and this podcast is all around that concept of Built to Exit. What I understood, for those of you brand new to the show, I'll just briefly go through it. But my history, the idea here, the reason why we do this show is for business owners. Like, it's people that are thinking about starting a business. You've got a business, you're running a business, all the way through to the natural conclusion, and hearing things. Like, I remember back when I was in my my younger days of owning a business, I had really no idea. It was just, I couldn't get hired. Like, you guys know my history, I won't go into it here, but I didn't have any real discernible skill sets to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to get a high paying job and I'm going to be able to start a career for myself. It wasn't like that. I didn't graduate high school. I had a cash accounting experience through, being a drug dealer. My family, 12 years old, I was dealing drugs, and 16 years old, I was good enough to fight, because I've been fighting my adopted father, who went to prison for attempted murder of me and my mom when I was 17. And, so I started to become a collector. There was all kinds of crazy stuff with my beginning, as you all can identify with, right? Most business owners are dealing with some form of trauma in one way or the other. Like, we either got daddy issues, mommy issues, we have issues with, proving our worth to the world by how much money we make and all that other kind of stuff. To say that owning a business is a sane decision is absolutely an insane attempt. So anyway, so I don't know, it's going down a path there. This week's show is going to be a little bit different. We do this, and probably once a month I'm going to do this, just because I need an outlet. We do a lot of training here, We do a lot of education, but it comes back to the concept that you get, again, uneducated me when I was younger wouldn't have known this. It was like start a business because nobody else will hire me, or I'm stuck, right? I didn't want to be stuck. I didn't want that feeling of being stuck at a price that somebody gauged my worth at because I didn't have a high school diploma, because I didn't have a college diploma, because I didn't have any, again, discernible, traits and skills. But as you know, being a business owner, what we do have is the ability to learn. And we also have a very, very high level of avoidance of being controlled, right? Owning a business is an act of rebellion, and it's full of people who are trying to solve past traumas and all that other kind of stuff. Some of us, we get to the other side of that and go, cool, thank God we have business, or else we'd all be shoveling, digging ditches and doing jobs that we really don't want to do. Thank God we have business. Live or die, we're doing it on our own terms. That's you, that's me, that's my merchant brotherhood and sisterhood. Back all the way back, we have a rich history of in our merchant family all the way back. And I believe all things, all innovations, all changes, all of the greatest things about history have been brought about because of us, because of people like us, because of merchants, because of entrepreneurs, because of business owners. I think this family is very unique. There's less than 10% of us in the world, and I want to hang out with you all. That's pretty much my gig. So welcome. I see Jonte in the house, Little Giant in the house. I see Cabs in the house. Good to see you guys. So anyway, so during these travels, looking at where we've been, I do this show. I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of teaching around the concept of built to exit, building your business to exit. I do a lot of coaching and teaching around the idea based on the premise of this idea, and I want it to sink in. And I say it every week because it became our tagline for a reason. And it's this: everybody exits, how matters, right? Everybody exits. That means everybody's going to exit. My 3 exit, there's the involuntary exit. I crashed 3 businesses in a row. Some of the greatest learning time, a lot of pain. I went through a divorce at the same exact time, lost my house, lost all credibility, ended up homeless. And just went to the bottom of the barrel. So I want people to avoid, if anything happens with this show, and of anything, whether you watch it, you don't watch it, you do business with it, you don't do business with us, if you can avoid the crash, right? Most people are like, oh, if I go out of business, I'll start another one. Look, there's a lot of pain involved with going bankrupt. This is the involuntary exit that we're talking about. There's a lot of pain, embarrassment, identity of crisis that happens when you crash a business. And so if you can just learn enough from this show, and you never see me in person, you never buy anything from me, but you just learn enough not to go through that process, I will have done my job. I will have done the job of this show. And because it's painful, it took me 6 years to get back on my feet. 6 years after 10 years of being in business and running it into the ground and then having 3 businesses crash sort of like dominoes. That's the involuntary exit. There's a lot of systems, processes, thought scaling, all of the different things that we talk about here that can help you avoid that involuntary exit. Another form of involuntary exit, which we've gotten called into with our consulting side of Built to Exit, is the main breadwinner, the owner of the business passes away, family's left in crisis, team is left in crisis. There was no succession plan, and we've had to come in and help. That's a tragedy of epic proportion. When you spend a lifetime building something, and inexplicably you suddenly you become unable, either through death or whatever, incapable of running it. That's also tragic. So those are the forms of involuntary exit. That's why we say everybody exits how it matters. There's also the middle one, which is dictated exit. That's those of us, we're rebels, we're rebellious. The idea of having a business is an act of rebellion in and of itself. And so if that's the case, what we don't want to do is get to the end and go, okay, I've built something worthy of somebody else buying, and have them dictate the terms, right? We don't want that. And that's what happened to me in my second one. Yes, I sold the business. Yes, it was a successful transition or transaction, but I got about half of what I should have gotten, and it took me about 3 years to collect the final deal. It was a massive headache. It was then that the lights went on, and I hope those lights go on for you as you watch the show over the weeks. You go back and watch the older episodes over on YouTube, or listen to it on Spotify, wherever you're catching the show. And you come to this to this conclusion, to this idea that everybody exits, right? And it was then that I had that epiphany, which I hope you're having, is that there's a whole industry called private equity out there that has a blueprint for me to follow of how to buy businesses, of how they're buying businesses. So maybe as I start my next company, as I buy my next company, as I get into my next business venture, maybe I should structure it for it to be acquired. And so I went down a rabbit hole of how companies are bought, roll-ups, all of the acquisition type strategies, and I built my next series of businesses very custom tailored for the people that I knew would be buying it. And that's really what we ended up doing. My brand, the Jason Cisneros brand, is known for custom tailored lifestyle. The business side of what we do on the built to exit side is around custom tailoring your exit. A lot of the stuff that you're going to be hearing out there, a lot of the things, the material that you're hearing, it's like one size fits all. It doesn't. As Keith Cunningham, the Real Rich Dad and the Rich Dad Poor Dad books, who's been my mentor for over a decade, sat shoulder to shoulder to the right hand of that man for over a decade. And he said that business is not a bathrobe. One size does not fit all. Even business to business, much less business owner to business owner. I've owned multiple companies, had my exit back in 2019. But business to business, it's different because there's different people, it's different product, it's different parts of the country, different age groups, different makeups. And so the idea that you get locked into is that there is one way to do it. And trust me, there's a ton of people on the buy side that are out there right now. Oh, buy a business. And there's lots of courses going on around how to buy a business, being taught by idiots who have never sold or bought a business genuinely on their own and had it been a success. They've bought them, fell apart, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of that going on. We're sell side advocates. What do we mean by that? Sell side, you own the business, you put the risk, you risk your house, you risk relationship, probably cost you some stuff. And that's going to be the theme of today's show, is that it has cost you something to get where you are, as it did for me, as it has done for hundreds and hundreds of my friends called business owners. And so I haven't seen a whole lot of advocacy for the sell side. We teach you here. I mean, watching these shows, we've got ways to help you. We've got products. We've got a digital product. We have an amazing team of people that can help you. If you have a bigger company and you're trying to get prepped up for sale, we can help you. All you have to do is reach out. But if all you do is watch this show over a period of time, you're going to learn that some of the tactics and the tricks of people trying to devalue your business. That's number one. The person who's buying your business wants to get it at the lowest price possible. Okay. They want to get it on the best terms possible. They want you to carry most of the debt, and they want you to stay on to make sure that the thing's going to be successful, or you're not going to get paid. This is the big push in acquisition coaching and training and all the other stuff that's going on these days. And so we want to guard you from that, right? The other circle of people that's after your money are the professionals that are set there to help you sell. And, and they end up, if you don't know what you're doing, they end up taking 50%. You probably are going to pay 25 to 40% less, get paid for your business up to 50% less if the deal ever closes by somebody who knows what they're doing and buying it. And then of that 50%, you're going to pay out probably 40 to 50% if you don't know what you're doing in fees for the professionals that surround you as you are exiting. So you, the person who risked everything, bled tears, had relationship issues, didn't go to your kids, whatever it was, you, the person that got there, get your ass kicked and a lot of hands in your pockets because you're a producer. I'm here to guard that. I don't like bullies. Everything about me, I've been putting on a bulletproof vest for over 10 years to go rescue kids in the sex trade. I've worked with domestic violence. That was my first love. I feed people. I don't like bullies, right? I stood up during 2020, all of the stuff. I don't like bullies. And I feel like the business owner, the genuine business owner like you and me, gets bullied and pushed around a lot more than they should. And so that's why we're here, sell side advocates, to be able to help you. So welcome to the show. Welcome as a brand new person. Welcome. You're around an amazing group of human beings on this Built to Exit journey. I'm going to tell you this because sometimes I forget. We go straight from here, this live, we go straight from here and we go over to Twitter, to X. And you go to @TheJCisneros, just follow me there. And at the top, about 4 or 5 minutes after I close this show, we open a live spaces there. So it's kind of like a radio interaction. And if you've watched the show, you have questions. If you're a longtime watcher, listener, you've been implementing some of these things, you've got questions. You just want to comment on how things are helping you, whatever it is. Me, my team, and a bunch of business owners jump on there for a live conversation after this show. So @TheJCisneros, you can just go while I'm doing the show. Make sure you follow, and it'll be pinned at the very top about 4 or 5 minutes after we finish this show. Okay? So let's get into it. Now, as I said, we've been traveling around, my wife and I. Another unique situation is most of the people that are out there teaching about this stuff, they've never really done it. Maybe they did it and got their ass handed to them. But they say things like, oh, I sold for $100 million. When you hear somebody say that they sold for $100 million, 99.9% of the time they're lying to you. Okay. I built $1 billion company. 99% of the time they are lying to you. The verification, there's a lot of things that happen in the course of a sale of a business, but here's some statistics that you need to know so that you understand who to listen to, right? Less than 7% of companies that are ever put on the marketplace, do they ever sell? Of that 7% that do sell, very few of them, and I've heard as high as 50% of them, fall apart after the close. Now, remember that, after the close. In other words, you went through it, you got to do due diligence, you landed on a price, you got to the other side, and all of a sudden it falls apart. Built to Exit is around custom tailored exits for you so that you can control 3 things. You should write this down and burn it into your memory. Built to Exit, the company that we built, the strategies that we built, what I've executed on myself, what my wife and I currently execute on myself, like what me and my partners of other businesses currently do, what that is it's a systematic way, right, to custom tailor your exit so that you can control 3 things: the price of your sale, the price of your exit, the terms of your exit, and the timing of your exit. The 3 most crucial. That's what I want you to control. In those 3 areas, whether you work with me or you work with somebody else, just understand that's my goal. Everybody exits, how matters, that's number 1. And I want to control the price, how much I get, the terms, how we're going to do this transaction, and the timing, how long it's going to take to close, how long you're going to allow due diligence to happen. Those 3 things, okay? But we've been traveling around. We've been doing a lot. There was about 5 or 6 companies of our own that was on this trip that we were on. We had some clients. We had some other things. We were doing some acquisitions along the way on our own. And we do a lot of flying in that instance, right? You're going here to California and LA and all these other kind of things. And so you watch movies on these shows that you maybe wouldn't, you either don't have time for, or you probably wouldn't watch otherwise. And I happened across this movie, and it just got me, it got me thinking. A lot of times, again, we'll be on this show, I'll teach you a lot of tactical stuff. Today's not one of those days. Today is more around a concept that I think you're going to absolutely love and want to think about over the course of your next 7 days. But I got into watching this show, and it was called Better Man. Better Man. Better Man. And it's about a monkey named Robbie that sings. And the whole entire world interacts with this monkey as if it's human. And weird concept. It's not something that, like, if I saw that on Netflix or so, I probably would just keep moving. If I saw it, anywhere else at the movie theater, like it's not a movie I would go see. But as I was scrolling through, I had a little bit of time, and so I just popped it on, and it, again, I won't say that the show, it's not like, you watch Mission Impossible 2. I just went to go see The Accountant 2 with my wife. We did a little video on going to The Accountant 2. Epic movies. Better Man, it's not an epic movie, but as you read books, you've gone to seminars, you've done all these other kind of things. You're like, that was kind of a shitty book, or that was a shitty seminar, or whatever. But you came away with 2 or 3 mind-blowing moments. And that was kind of like Better Man was for me. It was amazing. So let's get into it. I came away with 4 major points that I thought about. And I filter everything through the idea of, I'm talking to my brothers and sisters that are warriors in the business space, right? The shit that you have to go up against, the private, like out to the outside world, you always have to look like you have it together. To the outside world, even to your spouses that don't understand business. Or your friends that don't understand business, that have like safe, secure jobs or whatever it is. We are an anomaly. And I think that Built to Exit, if it's done one thing, it's been able to bring us weirdos all together to be able to have these kind of conversations. But there was a line in the movie, he was talking to him, and he said, songs are only valuable if they cost you something, right? This was the conversation and the story arc of this singing monkey is basically like any singer, right? You get in, want to be famous, and then you get famous, and then there's drugs and women. Like, that's the arc of it. Great, good enough story. But there was these lines that popped out to me that like this one, which are, songs are only valuable if they cost you something. And it brings me to what's going, and I just started thinking about that, and I actually paused the movie and I started taking a bunch of notes, thinking, I got to do a show on this. And the songs are only valuable if they cost you something. And I started thinking about people's marketing and the challenge that's coming around with AI right now, and how it did with social media, and how it did before that with the internet, and how there's always these revolutions of technology. There's always these advancements that are scary and new, and how do you market? And now, your worst competitor, somebody that would probably be out of business in 2 weeks, now all of a sudden has the best marketing on the face of the planet, and you're competing against all this stuff. And I got to thinking about the people that I admire in business and the products, and you can have inspiring HVAC companies. You can have inspiring landscape businesses. You can have inspiring, and it got me to thinking how I've become surrounded by people as I traveled. I do podcasts, I go and speak, and I hang out with people in all these different cities, the businesses that we've gotten into, my partners that we've gotten into business with, the people that we work with through Built to Exit. And I started to see a theme of all of us that are drawn together, call it the Built to Exit environment, whatever, the Jason Cisneros. Those of you that followed me long enough remember the Bald Avenger days, those kind of things. there's a common thing that draws us all together, and it's this idea that we have, as I started the show out, that a lot of us started our business out of some sense of trauma. We've got mommy issues, daddy issues, we got all, whatever these things are, but we had to do, I did it because I didn't graduate from high school, right? I didn't finish. And so I had a choice. I was in a life of crime, and then I was like, okay, I had my son. I didn't want to do that anymore, and so I got a real job. That real job paid like $5 an hour, and that was hand peeling the bark off of logs to build log cabins for a little while, and then and I went from that to, I got like a $2 or $3 raise to go for my father-in-law at the time. And I was 3 stories down in a sump at a mine, digging down there going, what is going on with my life? But that's what the education level, not graduating from high school, what it got me. And I started thinking, what am I going to do without a degree? And what am I going to do with all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go out and learn a trade. And I did. I learned how to lay carpet. And then I was around the business, and I was like, man, how do I do that? The business owner, they do this and they're making a shitload of money, and they've got this freedom and the respect in the community. How do I do that? And then I did that. And then I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I crashed that business, which at the time I had 2 other businesses. And so they simultaneously crashed. It's a lifelong learning. And to get to the point where I am now, which is I have this love and passion to teach. And I've been given a skill set by God to be able to teach what I know. And as the thing that the commonality for all of the things that I do, and the things that the people that surround me, everybody, the staff, if you've been around me for a while, my team at Built to Exit, my wife, you've gotten to know those people. Our wedding was jam-packed with my business partners who become my family. And I got to thinking about all of y'all's stories, the people that are watching consistently here, that you all have these amazing stories. You have these amazing stories, and when you try to think about this, because this is the thing. There's 3 more thoughts I want to go through, but there's something unique about you. I know AI is like freaking everybody out right now. The only thing that I can do is be optimistic, because it's the only gear I have, is to live in joy and to be optimistic about the future. Not stupid about it, but optimistic about it. How is this tool going to be able to enhance the community, my family, called merchants? In other words, us. And I spend all day, every day thinking about this. We've got businesses, like I said, that are massively impacted by things like that are going on in tariffs, right? The AI revolution, what businesses are we going to invest in? It's coloring all day, every day, what I do, the decisions I make, the consulting that we give through Built to Exit, all of the stuff that we touch. And as you look at your life, as you look at your business, there's still this concept of standing out. Now, I'm not a marketing guy. But the greatest marketing, the best friends that I have, the best businesses that have been built, the businesses that have been built that other people want to buy, are because there's a twist on HVAC. Because there's a twist on, and I did a whole show on this about a month ago, but there's the twist on it called give a shit. And when you give a shit, that means that you are investing a part of who you are into your business, which becomes a part of the DNA. It becomes part of the heartbeat that makes your HVAC company, your painting company, your consulting firm, your whatever it is. It makes it different than people who are not throwing their soul into it, that are just in it for the money. And this is no judgment. This is no judgment zone, because you build your business for whatever reason. I don't care. My group, the people that I think do the best in business, invest a part of who they are. Now, I want to make a distinction here between the idea, the concept that is, I am not my business is not me. You don't want to become so attached to it that it becomes your identity, but you do want to infuse it as you would with one of your children with your traits, with your higher traits, not your lower traits, with your higher traits, your aspirational traits of who you are. You want to infuse it, not give your entire identity to the business, but to give it your best pieces. My son, one of the parts of where we were at on this trip was to go graduate the first Cisneros boy from high school. We had my first girl a while back, but the first Cisneros boy. And I get so emotional as I was watching him graduate and the life that I've lived and the challenges and the sacrifices and to watch my boy get that diploma and not only to get the diploma, but to watch the man that he's become along the way, because he's infused with me going, you know what? I've got to stop a trend in my life. All those years ago, I've got to stop a trend in my life so that my kids don't graduate. And it was my oldest son, who is an amazing, he didn't graduate, but my oldest son, who's an amazing human being now, owns business, investor in real estate, all of this full circle. Back then, when I was building a sump 3 stories down, when I'm digging in there going, what am I doing with my life? I can't see light because I'm 3 stories down underground in a mine, thinking to myself, what am I doing with my life? But there was a decision before that said, I don't want my kids to grow up in that crime lifestyle. I don't want them to die early. I don't want their prospects to be early death or prison. I don't want that for them. And you've done a version of that for you and for your family. And the thing that makes a difference for your business is to go beyond the tactical stuff sometimes and to dig into what makes you fucking different. And don't hide that. Let that infuse who you are. Let that inspire the people that are around you who are like you, who may have some of the same challenges, gender, sexual preference, skin color, geographic location, all of your upbringing, those stories. Your story can be infused into your brand that gives your business that 2%, that 2 millimeter difference, to where it can run without you, number one, and be acquired by somebody who wants it. Not giving it who you are. Don't let your business be who you are, but let your business be a reflection of who you are, as I believe my children are. Right? 5 unbelievably unique individuals that are my children, that have been infused with my thought processes, that went, I'm not going to do what I did when I was raised. I'm not bringing them into that. And it's the same thing with my businesses. I want my businesses to go out and do good in the world. I want the profits to be used for good. I now know biblically that there's a parable of the talents, which means that I'm going to continue to sow into the world. In 2019, I was very, very, very tempted to drop out, go buy an island, and disappear. Very tempted. My wife and Joe Callo and Carlos and all those people dragged me back from the brink of just dropping out. Thank God they did, because I feel like we're just at the tippity top, the tip of the spear of changing the world with a group of intentional, inspirational merchants whose heart beats with the same DNA of the first goat that was traded for the first egg all the way back, that has changed the world. The taxes that pay for everything around everybody comes from us. The innovations in business to make people's life easier so that it's less expensive for everybody else to be able to, the standards by which people live today to be able to live longer lives, to have health care, that came from us. And yet we have these songs inside of us, these unique things about us that we tend to tamp down and we tend to hide because we think that there's this whitewashed, polished version of who you are that needs to be sanitized for people to want to do business with you. Those days are long ago. Those days are long past. I talk about my failures all the time because there's no secrets anymore. Stop trying to hide the shit. You know how many people hire me because I didn't graduate from high school? Do you know how many people hire me because I crashed 3 businesses? Do you know how many people have hired me because I went through a divorce? Do you know how many people have hired me because I went through homelessness? Almost all of them, because I wouldn't be able to help them with what they do had I not failed at the highest level in everything that I did, and then learn those lessons and transform that shit for myself first. That's the story you need to tell. You got to let that shit out, because whatever you think you're hiding, people already know. Whatever you think you're hiding, people already know. And people don't want, I mean, look, if it's a requirement that you're perfect and that you know everything and you've never made mistakes, if it's a requirement for somebody to do business with you because of that, that person who makes that decision because you're perfect will do nothing but try to find all of your weaknesses, and they will find that, and then they will destroy your reputation. So don't play the game. Be the game, right? Don't play that game. Your song, your marketing, your business, it's only valuable if it costs you something. And that cost is vulnerability. Right? This was in the application of this monkey movie called A Better Man, of a singing monkey. And there was a line in there that said songs are only valuable if they cost you something. You know it. You could listen to these formulaic songs that are out there. You can see these formulaic speakers. The reason I get asked to go on stage is because nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen when I get up there. They do know that there's going to be an outcome of fired up people. They do know that there's going to be a message that was custom tailored to them that I don't even know what I'm going to say until I get there, because God plants it on my heart and I say what God wants me to say. And that moves audiences with world leaders that are sitting in front of me. Epic leaders that have written books and will be in the history books, listening to the words that are falling off of my lips, up and out of their chair, jumping up and down, pounding themselves up, pounding their own chest. General Flynn telling me as I came off of stage when he was standing, it was sitting 3 rows in front of me. He goes, "Jason, you got me fired up. You got me wanting to roll out and do something." Like General Flynn. This is a man that commanded more people on the face of the planet in the military than almost anybody in history. Because I was being me. Because I was being the only me that I know how to be. Sharing a message that costs me something because I have to reveal something in me to people who can take it and do damage with it. Because it's the truth. The truth of the way that you've lived your life. The truth of the way that you've treated people in the past. The truth of what you've done with your money. The truth of how you've been as a parent. The truth of how you've been as a business owner. The truth of how you've been a leader or not been a leader. That truth costs you something. Because it reveals a vulnerability. It reveals a weakness. And only when you reveal it and give it air and give it light can it become a strength. In my opinion. This is just my opinion. And so maybe think about this from the context of your business. Are you being who you are through your business? Are you trying to be a polished version of somebody else? Don't do that. I've got some friends, and I don't know if they're watching today, but I've got some friends in mind that I know are generally speaking in the audience when I'm doing this show that I've had this conversation with. They're like, oh, blah, 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 I got to do this. Now I go, no, don't lose your accent. No, don't stop cussing, because then it becomes you. And then there's other people I'm like, don't cuss. That's not who you are, right? Don't cuss because somebody else is doing it. And have these conversations around like it's so like it's for the men, right? I'm speaking only to the men right now that are out there doing their marketing, and they think that it makes them stand out to be just like some of these other people that are gurus and popular and all this other kind of stuff. You can't be somebody else is the only thing that I'm saying. People are tired of fake. People are tired of fake, and it's not going to pay the bills, especially in the world of AI. You've got to be authentic to who you are, to the highest levels. Authenticity, absolutely. Hi, Anita. All right, cool. So that's it. Whatever you're doing with your marketing, whatever you're doing in your business, you got to let you come through so that people know that you're doing it authentically, so that they know that they're dealing with somebody who's real, flaws and all. You very, very hard pressed. I won't say not any of them, but you're going to be very hard pressed to find any episode of anything I've ever done, any stage I've ever been on, where I do not tell people about the shit that I've done, the mistakes that I've made in my life. Okay. So it's all me. You either like me or you don't. And either way saves us both time. All right. So now here's the other side. This was another line from the movie Better Man, a singing monkey that was going through the ark that everybody in the movie, whatever reason, was totally normal. But make every performance count. There's so many times in your business, and again, I'm keeping this around business, but the business is just reflect. Business is human beings, right? AI is learning from human beings, human nature, those types of things. So I'm focusing this around business because I want you to look at your, just like I said before, a song only matters when it costs you something. And that song, when you sing it, means that every single performance counts. Tony Robbins talks about Elton John singing Tiny Dancer, and the fact that every single time Elton John sings it, he sings it like it's the first time, because he never knows if it's going to be your first time. That's kind of the concept that popped back out of me. I remember Tony telling that story, and I was like, oh, that's important, right? That's important, because no matter who you're talking to, whether you're sitting by somebody on a plane or you're eating lunch, and how you treat the server, and whether you're playing golf or whatever it is that you're doing, every single sales presentation that you have, it's the first time that somebody's experiencing you. And so you want to make that performance count. Is it, Jason, you just said to be authentic, and now you're saying to perform, and which one is it? Yes, it's both. You want to be authentic, and your authenticity, it's not about you being authentic for the purpose of being, I am me and you have to deal with me and this is just how I am. No. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the idea that you become conscious about the best parts of you that are serving other people, that can be duplicated over and over and over again, because you're a servant. Unless you are servant-minded, unless you are servant-hearted, unless you are servant, that you have fallen in love with the outcome of somebody else with your business, unless you've understood that you're building a business for somebody else is going to own your business, whether that's the government because they shut you down, the bank because they shut you down, your kids because of succession trade, because somebody buys your business, whatever it is, somebody else is going to own your business someday. So build it for them, which means you become servant-hearted in making sure that you are building a valuable asset to be passed on to whoever is next going to own it. So that means that I got to figure out exactly the best parts of me, and I want to enhance those and I want to serve other people. I want to take the talents God gave me and multiply them. And so I'm going to be a better man, right? Based on this movie, this weird movie that I would never ever have watched before. And I want to make every performance count. Every performance count means that you are going to display love, compassion, service, inspiration. To every human interaction that you're going to have. With your business or otherwise. It's practice. Anybody that's traveled with me, you know, you've seen me. I do this everywhere I go because I never want to get out of practice for making somebody else smile. To reach into people's lives. I mean, that's the most human thing that we can do, and I practice all the time. Cool. So, make every performance count. Here's another one. If you're going to go by the context of this, right? If you're going to go by the context of making this count, right? Making every performance count. If you're going to go by the concept that your song is going to be great because it costs you something. The reason why we do that is because if that brief interaction, if just for a moment, right? I think about this every time I do a show, get on stage, have a conversation in an Uber ride, wherever I happen to be. What if I could be the reason why that person smiled? And then I see this quote pop up in this movie and I'm like, that's how I feel. Right? We want to make, and the best businesses that are out there, the best marketing that's out there, the best marketing that then leads into the actual getting the product and then that product actually exceeding expectations and changing and easing suffering in somebody's life. And then so much so that they go out and they give a referral and then somebody else comes in and gets to experience the fact that I fell in love with their outcome so deeply that nobody else can deliver at the level that I can deliver. I make people's problems go away, even if it's just for a moment. All in the context of this singing monkey movie. Make other people's problems go away, even for a moment. There's so many people that take that moment to express their own problems. Think about the moments that you spend. Think just briefly, close your eyes and think about the people that you're surrounded by. And are those people that you are that are pushing their problems over onto you? Are you somebody who pushes your problem on to them so that that moment that can be experienced between two humans? Jason, this is deep. Is this still about business? Your business is just a reflection of you. Your business is just a reflection of you. And so are the people in your life bringing you their problems? Are you bringing your problems so that that moment that could be a magical moment that is spent between two humans being lifted up, inspiring, lifting up, giving a better view of the future, reducing fear, increasing inspiration? How do you treat this idea? When people come across you, do you make their problems go away or do you add to them? Are you looking for people to make your life easier or are you looking to make other people's life easier? Right? These simple concepts, but profound in their execution when you get this right. Profound in their execution. But you have to step away. We live in a life. Look, I look at the world today and I think to myself, oh my God, everybody's so self-absorbed that they want to be the hero of their own story. And I go, oh my God, other people want to be the hero of their own story. So let me help them be the hero of their own story. Let me help. It makes you different. Make your business, your brand, your punchlines, your words, everything to be able to let them be the hero of their own stories. That's how you make their problems go away, even if just for a moment. It just takes the sacrifice of your own ego. It takes the sacrifice of knowing that you're enough already in this moment. Like, you're enough. I'm enough. Therefore, me giving something away of myself is not going to cost me anything because there's more of it to give. The more I give, the more there is to give. Weird concept. Anyway, I'm getting on to preaching now. Last thought. From the movie Better Man, Robbie the Singing Monkey. When I stopped needing them to clap, I started healing. Oh, so good. So good. As I said in the beginning of this show, most of us that are business owners have some sort of freaking trauma going on. We're trying to deal with something. I remember I've told that story so many times of always being the poor kid in class, and having to wear the same pair of pants, and and having to stand in line for government cheese with my mom, watching my mom's embarrassed face as she pulled out the food stamps, and going on walks with my mom some days where she would, we'd be looking for asparagus because it was a fun thing to do, but was because that's how she tried to transmit it to me as a child. But it was the only thing that we were going to have to eat if we didn't find anything like that growing on the side of the road. So, those days, and why I started was just in sheer pettiness. And as a kid, I can remember I'll show these people. I'm gonna be something someday, right? And just having that pettiness, and sometimes that's where it's got to start. I'm not shaming anybody. I'm just saying it was part of my journey. I got into it. I was like, just wait till all these people figure out who the hell I am, blah, blah, blah. And then I had my first business, and I was making money, and I had a big house, jet skis, and I had all this stuff. And I was so empty inside, and I was like, now people love me because I was able to buy their love. And then I went bankrupt, and I lost it all. And none of those people were there. They were clapping for me when I was throwing big parties. They were clapping for me when I was filling the coffers at church. They were clapping for me when I was making payroll. They were clapping for me when I was donating to my local schools. They were clapping for me, when they wanted to sell me something. They were clapping for me when I was empty inside and when I was doing everything for the wrong reason. They were clapping for me because I needed it. And I bought it. I paid for it. I bribed them to love me. I faked them out with the house, and I faked them out with the money, and I faked them out. I was like, I faked you out. I faked you out so that you'll applaud for me. I faked you out. I'm still that poor, broken kid, got the shit beat out of me, got my nose busted over a dozen times, that got called a loser, that got locked in my room by my adopted father because he beat me up. My face would be so jacked up that I'd be locked in my room until it would heal. I was still that kid. Trying to prove to the world something that wasn't true. My worth is not in what I have. My worth is in who I am. My worth ultimately is in how I leave you feeling. My worth is in how I can lift you up. My worth is in how I can ease suffering in the world. My worth is in my kids and watching my son graduate, the smile on his face and the stories of what a good human being he is, and being around that portion of my family, my weird mixed family of people. That's where your worth is. And I think the world's crying out for you to be that genuine person in your marketing and with your business, and to have your business stand for something. And not out of fear. There's a lot of fear. There's always a lot of fear. You just go back in history. There's never been a year where, there wasn't on either a catastrophe or an oncoming catastrophe, or the Democrats were going to ruin the world or the Republicans were going to ruin the world. There's never been a day in the history of business that there wasn't the ability to be afraid of what's coming next. And I don't want you to be those people. I don't want you to be the kind of people that are afraid. Is there challenges? Absolutely. But behind every opportunity or every challenge is an opportunity. And these are, kind of fortune cookie type things, but there's a lot of wisdom behind fortune cookie type stuff. But I think, how, I don't know how I want to wrap this up. Yeah. But the idea here, these 4 concepts, right? These 4 concepts, and, anchoring them in. And I just love the timing of it, right? Flying around and doing what we're doing, and the timing of everything. God's timing is always perfect in my life. And I thought that's what this message needed to be. I hope it helps. I hope it helps. I'm just going to go through them really quick. Songs are only valuable if they cost you something. Make every performance count. Make other people's problems go away, even if for a moment. And when I stopped needing them to clap, I started healing. And that's that. That's that for the show, for Built to Exit. There's something different about this crowd. There's something different about the people that I interact with on here. There's something different about the DMs that I get, the hugs that I get when we're in all these different cities and I, speaking on stages or whatever I happen to be doing. There's something different. I don't charge you like $49 or $39 to be a part of my community. I do this for free every single Saturday because I love it. Because people are doing things for them and their families with the content that I put out. And that's all I could ask for. Some of you end up doing business with us. Some of you don't. Some of you end up doing business with each other, which is actually the reason why we built the Built to Exit community. And I love seeing that. So I'm going to wrap it up here and just let you know, thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to rant a little bit today. I needed it. There's been a lot of bottled up, and I used to just do rants all the time. And now we're doing a little bit more structured content to make sure you have takeaways and all that kind of stuff. But this is who I am. It's who I am authentically, and it's who I've always been. If you've been with me for the last 10 years, it's who I'm always going to be. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you that are watching. Thank you for all of you that have been following me for years and are still with me. Thank you for those of you that are new. We really do put a lot into this community, and we want to make sure that you have some takeaways and you can go do things on your own, whether you ever do business with us or not. We appreciate you. Your time and your trust mean a lot to me. It means a lot to the team at Built to Exit. It means a lot to the community when new people come in, because it just widens our power through knowledge and through proximity to other people who think like us. So go over to Twitter, go to x.com and put in @TheJCisneros, because that's the name it was. It used to be another one, but I got kicked off of Twitter because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut on things of truth. So, but now in Elon's Twitter, I'm at @TheJCisneros. In about 5 minutes from after I wrap this up, it's going to be a bunch of us live there, and we're going to have great conversations. I invite everyone. You're always welcome. And we do this every single Saturday. So go to @TheJCisneros, and pinned at the top, you will see B2X After Party. And we'll all be in there, and we'll all be waiting for you. So go forth, be more of who you are, bring more to the table, fear less. Reach out to anybody that's watching. If you're seeing people comment, I could see a lot of people that are in my community. They're here. They're all unbelievably amazing people. Some are coaches, some have products, some have services. Get to know them, get to know what they do business with them. Because if they've been around this environment for a while, they have my blessing and my stamp of approval. So, all right. Have an amazing week. We'll see you again next week. You can follow us on all of the things, but if you want to watch this on replay, you can go to jasoncisneros.com. You can go to builttoexit.biz, or you can go to YouTube and go look at all the episodes that we've put together. And you can certainly share this. We appreciate more than anything when you share this message to people who need to see it and hear it. I love you all, my merchant, entrepreneurial, business owning freaks of nature. I love you all very, very much. And we'll see you next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wherever you're watching right now, we'll be back on that channel again. Okay? See you all in 5 minutes over on Twitter @TheJCisneros. God bless. Have an amazing week. Peace.